to Reno Radio. I'm your host, Naomi Findlay, and I'm Australia's real renovation expert. This podcast will give you real advice for renovating, selling your property, or styling your home so you can create beautiful, healthy, and wealthy spaces too. Renovating does not have to be hard. In fact, it can be one of the most rewarding things you ever do. So join me and my impressive list of guests each week for plenty of feel-good inspiration and real renovation advice. This is Reno Radio. Hey everyone, we are here with Rowan, our very famous chippy, and we are here very famous chippy. Well, you're on the Reno show, dude.
That's right. That's all you need.
Very famous chippy, and we're here to talk about roof pitches, not roof bitches, just in case anyone thought I had it wrong. Roof pitches.
Roof pitches. Well, more specifically, we're going to talk about a hand-pitched roof as opposed to a truss roof.
Right.
So roof pitch refers to the angle of the roof. Some of them, a screen roof is like a flat one.
How it's pitched.
We're talking about how it's pitched.
Not how big it's pitched.
Well, specifically, we're talking about the structure of the roof members inside the roof. So
all right, so before everyone nerds out on us and goes, Rowan, I'm not a builder. I actually don't care how it's pitched. I want to know why is it important?
It's important to note from a renovation point of view because in these older properties that you're renovating, if they've got a hand-pitched roof, that means basically the roof truss has been cut by hand, nailed together, and has a lot more structural members in it.
So it's more complex.
It's more complex, and also a lot of that roof load will be distributed between what we call load-bearing walls inside the property in general. A roof truss or a trussed roof, which has been manufactured off-site, brought to the property.
Pretty much when you see the big triangles being craned onto the top of a house.
The large majority of those, not always the case, but the large majority of those will be resting purely and solely on the outside walls of the house, which means that the inside walls, if they don't carry any roof load, you can move them around.
A bit like a jigsaw puzzle.
A bit like a jigsaw puzzle. So if you've got a hand-pitched roof, it can reduce the amount of flexibility of what you've got to do in design-wise within that house. If you've got a truss roof, not always the case, but worth checking out and getting your house up into the ceiling, head up into the ceiling space. If you've got a truss roof and it's purely sitting on the outside walls of the house, you've basically got, to a large extent, you've got an open floor plan that you can fool around with.
All right, so if we sum that up, we have two different ways that we can have our roof pitched, generally speaking, very broadly speaking.
Very broadly speaking.
One, very broadly speaking, is a hand-pitched, which means that we can't guarantee that only the external walls of the house are load-bearing.
Carrying that load,
and generally speaking, like trusses haven't been around for 100 years.
No, they haven't. I don't know exactly how old they are, how long they've been around, but they have evolved a lot even in the time they've been around. Now they're made out of pine, and that was never the case.
It was always hardwood.
Always hardwood in your roof truss, but now your roof truss is made from pine. Engineered a lot of the time as well.
But that means if we had a 30 or 40-year-old property we were renovating, there is a substantial chance that it's hand-pitched.
There could be, depending on the location too of the property. So if you're in some of the more well-established areas where technology was introduced earlier, then you'll find that they could be truss roofs or they could be hand-pitched. Also, the angle of the pitch is sometimes a giveaway as well. Because, sometimes these really low-pitched roofs
are hand-pitched.
Because the engineering in that's difficult to pull off sometimes. So,
All right, so long story short, if you have a hand-pitched roof, so if it's not made from prefab trusses which were craned on...
And you'll see often there's nail plates on the joins of your truss, which are an indication that it's been a truss roof, not hand-pitched.
Perfect. So if you have a hand-pitched roof, get your builder in. Get your builder in early on so they can identify for you which ones are the load-bearing walls and which ones aren't. Because that can then let you play with your budget and your floor plan and your layout and know all of this up front rather than later on go, I need to move that wall, and have your builder going, big job, it's load-bearing.
Or even if you need to open up an opening in a wall and it's a load-bearing wall, then, your lintels going in, there's a lot more engineering involved in that. It can very much add to the cost of your renovation. Whereas if it's not a load-bearing wall, just cut a hole in it, frame it out, walk through it.
Within legislation.
Within legislation. It goes without saying, of course.
It does. But I always like to mention it. Remember, we have legislations and requirements to keep us and to keep the people that buy our houses and our industry safe. So always abide by them. And that's an unsaid rule on this Reno show.
And it comes back to good juju as well. It's good karma.
It does. Good juju.
Just make sure you do it right. If you're going to do anything, do it right.
So get your head up in the roof. Check out roof trusses hand-pitched. Get help if you need it. Hey renovators, if you're ready to take the next step in your renovation journey, then come learn how to renovate with me in my online renovation masterclass. It's completely free for all of you listeners. So if you want to discover how to renovate properties for profit, head over to naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass, where I'll show you how the 7 steps to my winning rapid renovation formula create a 6-figure income for me and many of my students. So save your spot today. Remember, it's naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass. See you soon.